Yo, what's going on? I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Hey, appreciative for y'all for watching. All the channel members, a big salute to you and everybody who watches, shares, comments, like. Hey, people who dislike, I rock with y'all too. Fuck it. Anyway, in this video, we're gonna cover a few topics. Y'all actually gonna get a preview because I'm gonna cover. I'm probably not gonna do this too often, but I'm gonna cover a few stories that we did yesterday on the members only co-counsel live stream. And as always, y'all know if we get into the thumbnail story on the back end of the game. All right. So hey, if y'all just want the thumbnail story, put a pin in it, circle back around. Thank you. What's going on? I appreciate you. And of course, you get a round of applause for dropping the first comment of the day. All right, so a few stories. Two of the stories are just recaps. We're not going to do a deep dive into the legal stuff. That was for the members. So if you want to see that, we'll go to the members. Two of the stories are just recaps of stories that we did on the channel that I know people asked about. One story is just interesting. One is going to be funny as hell. And then we're going to dive into this story about this track athlete. What happened? Was it intentional? Was it an accident? If there's any legal consequences, and how would you have reacted if you were a parent and that was your child? I know I would have went full blown ignorant, but we'll get there. So let's go ahead, jump right in it. We're going to recap a story that we talked about before. First, let's lay the foundation. We did a story about a month ago. You can just Google it, trending news, but it was about a sheriff who pulled out his firearm and shot a judge and killed him in his own office. Now, at the time of the story we were getting from the news was that the sheriff tried to call his daughter. He was unable to reach her. He asked to use the judge's phone. After trying to make an attempt on the phone, he identified that the judge had his daughter's phone number locked inside of his phone. He spazzed out. That was the story that they were getting. Before, during the day, everything seemed fine. This guy was going to work as usual. He had lunch with the judge, no issues. This happens, then he finds himself in custody. So let's see what's going on with that case, what his argument is. On the members only live stream, I actually broke down the legal concepts because there's a couple of school of thoughts when you're making the defense that he's going to make. But let's go ahead, dive in, see what's going on. Where it's at now.
Former Kentucky sheriff charged with the murder of a district judge plans to use an insanity defense. That's according to a new court filing this week. The former Letcher County Sheriff, Mickey Steins, is charged with shooting Judge Kevin Mullins. It happened in September of last year inside the judge's chambers. During a recent hearing, attorneys discussing the possibility for a competency evaluation, though it's not known when the latest motion will be addressed.
Real quick story, real quick update. That was the shortest video we're going to have. None of them longer than 2 minutes, though. But so he's going to use an insanity defense. Again, there are 1, 2, 3 variations, 3 legal tests, maybe 4. For sure, most states are split into the McNaughton test and then the model penal code test for insanity. Long story short, hey, what's going on, Crystal? I appreciate you tuning in. Long story short, thank you as always. A shout out to you. Long story short, in order to use the insanity defense, no matter what model, what state jurisdiction you in, it boils down to a few things. One, was the person aware? I'm saying I was insane at the time. I didn't know what I was doing was a crime. Or the other argument is I did not know, in fact, what I was doing. One of the tests requires a diagnosis by a mental professional. However, under both tests, the court is the one who makes the determination if the evidence presented justifies insanity. Now, the competency hearing that you heard about is a normal thing that attorneys have. I've recommended and had probably hundreds of them performed on clients. You have a client, you think that your client may have some cognitive mental health issues, where he doesn't understand the proceeding in which he's charged with. So you would request a court to do a forensic evaluation. You would have a professional come in. They ask the questions, do all of these sessions to determine if the person is competent to stand at trial. Now, typically, the insanity defense is kind of a last resort defense because there are instances where people are truly insane, but there are a lot of instances where people say, yo, I don't got anything else to argue, so I'm about to argue this shit. The problem I think that he's going to have with arguing the insanity defense is this. In order to argue an insanity defense, no matter what the test is, you have to look at the conduct of the defendant at the time of the event, the conduct, and how he was acting prior to and after the event. So in this situation, let's think about it. In this situation, the gentleman just before the event, he'd been coming to work as usual. He's been operating as usual. The day of the event, prior to the incident, he actually sat down at lunch, had lunch with the judge. Everybody said he was acting normal. Then this event occurred. Just that alone, not saying a person can't be insane, but his conduct before and leading up to the event, to me, appears consistent with someone who's acting in a rational, logical state of mind. So I think he's going to have problems. But I just wanted to give that update because I know people were following that. Some people hit me up and wanted to know what was the status of it. Hey, he's going to plead insanity. We're going to see how it goes. I don't think it's going to be successful, but you never know. Let's pivot to the next story now. Next story is a little bit more interesting. And let's go ahead and jump to it first. All right, now I found a shorter video, but this next story, we actually covered it in the live stream, and I thought this one was very interesting. So I said, you know what? Doing the members only stuff, I like to keep the members only stuff over there. But this was a very interesting story, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how I feel about this story. I don't know. I have some sympathy for the person in this family, but on the other hand, I'm like, come on now. Like, I'm not trying to victim blame, but yeah, so I don't know how I feel. This is a story about a U.S. Army veteran who is in the custody of ICE. He got picked up and detained by ICE. I want you all to hear his story. Y'all let me know, fair or foul. I'll give you. Y'all already know I got a little sympathy because he's a combat veteran like myself. So I got a little sympathy, but let me know what y'all think. Let me know what y'all think before I dive too far into it.
They brought signs and red roses to make a statement that what's happening here at this ICE detention center in Florence is not right.
We don't understand why veterans who served this country and put their life on the line are being subject to deportation also.
Okay, real quick. You can be a veteran. You can have made a sacrifice for your country, your mind, body, health, livelihood. But we got to just be, hey, regardless of where your politics fall at, I think everyone understands that if you are in the country illegally, that is an actionable criminal offense. I'm not saying your status shouldn't give you a little bit of deference. We just got to be realistic here, though.
Their concerns center around Marlon Paris, a former Iraqi veteran and father of 7 who has been living with his wife and kids in the West Valley for years. Just last month, Paris was out running errands near his home in Levine when he was stopped by federal agents and taken to an ICE detention center where he is now facing deportation.
We're at a point where we really don't know what's going to happen day to day.
Paris's wife, Tanisha, tells us her husband, who was originally from the Caribbean, came to the country legally in 1997 and was given a green card and then joined the Army.
Do y'all see why I don't know where to fall on this. I feel sorry for the brother. He looked like he got a family, 7 kids, married. They got a little blended family according to the reports. But bro has been here for a long time. Like, you've been here for a long time. You didn't think to do anything to try to get your situation together? Maybe not early on, but you didn't think to try to do anything of all the years that you were here as an adult? Even when you were in the military, you could have went to legal. It's free. Just go to legal and ask somebody. I, I get both sides of it. Y'all let me know what y'all think.
We have all documentation, all paperwork, everything that proves that my husband has every right to be in America.
So why then was Paris picked up by ICE? Arizona's family has learned the Valley vet served 5 years in prison after pleading guilty to a nonviolent drug charge in 2011. ICE agents reportedly assured him he would not be deported because of the nonviolent nature of the offense. But everything changed when the Trump administration took over.
I'm not trying to laugh, but like, hey, I'm gonna just be honest. I think it's self-inflicted too. I appreciate your service, bruh. Trust me, I was there, Iraq. I understand all of that. But you've been an adult long enough. You've been an adult long enough to have inquired about something you can do to ensure your status. Now, I know you all are thinking, well, ICE promised them that they wouldn't pick them up. It wasn't an actual promise by ICE. What happens is under the Biden administration, the guidance was, hey, your offense was nonviolent. And because it was nonviolence, and we're going to give you a little deference because of your military background, we are just declining to prosecute. It doesn't mean you get a free pass. It just means that they were declining to prosecute. Maybe this is just me. The minute Biden and Trump had a debate, at a minimum, I would have went to see if I can get my stuff squared away or at least start the process then. Because let's just be honest, that debate didn't look good. Like, it just didn't look good. I think I would have been like, you know what? Let me do something just in case this don't pan out right. So I agree with you on that one though, MDJ. I think it's kind of giving self-inflicted wounds. Now his wife says him having the prior drug conviction for 5 years that was nonviolent, he doesn't fall in the category of persons that President Trump had articulated that they wanted to get. Violent persons with criminal backgrounds, violent behavior, gangs. I don't know. To me, I think his background falls exactly in the category of what President Trump has been talking about. That's why I think, bro, you knew you had this on your record. And typically, I've never practiced immigration law, but I do know how criminal convictions impact a person's status. Essentially, how it works is there are a set category of crimes. If you're charged and convicted of those crimes, it's do not pass go, do not collect $200, go straight to ICE jail. But there are another category of crimes where if you convicted of this crime, if you have a finite period of time afterwards where you don't get in trouble, you're a productive citizen, you could still apply for your citizenship. So his offense would fall under that category. Because getting 5 years for a drug charge, that's an actual serious drug charge. All right, that's not no less than 1 year sentence. But essentially, Biden said, yo, we aren't going to prosecute because of your nonviolent conviction and your prior service. President Trump came in and said, we're going after violent criminals. He had a drug conviction. He got picked up. Let me see. How did ICE know about this particular vet? Well, this is actually interesting. It's a good question, Alexandria. I'm not sure because the article, I looked it up, I didn't see it. But I will tell you, I did see another article and I said, this may have some implication. There was an app that was being used, and you all can Google it. It was an app that was put out that was being used by Homeland Security under the Biden administration, where it allowed people to self-report. I go on this app. I'm a migrant. I'm here illegally, but I'm working. I'm productive as hell. I'm paying into the tax system, all of that good stuff. I go on this app and I self-report. Hey, I'm a migrant. I'm a veteran. I'm gainfully employed. You upload a photo. You put all your contact information in that app. And under the Biden administration, because who's going to self-report? Some cartel guy over here isn't going to self-report. Only the productive citizens, people who are only the productive migrants who are here illegally, not citizens, are going to self-report. And when they self-report, then ICE came out and was like, yo, we see you self-report. This is what I'm assuming. We see you self-reported, nonviolent vet. You good, bro. We got orders not to prosecute. It's a done deal. Now, just yesterday or the day before yesterday, that same app, President Trump actually refined that app. So now that app, it allows you to self-report. But when you self-report, upload your information, name, all of that stuff, they coming to pick your ass up. Now, the catch is if you self-report under that app and you are a violent criminal, even though they're going to deport you, you can still apply for citizenship on the back end after your deportation. If you don't self-disclose and they pick you up, then that pass go, then that collect $200, then that come back. So I don't know if that's how they had his information, because the Biden administration, ICE was able to find him. But when I saw that article, I thought, a lot of people probably self-disclosed under Biden thinking that they were good, and now the tables are turned. And the interesting thing about that app that the Trump administration adjusted, any information that was uploaded in that app previously, ICE can use to come pick you up now. So I don't know if that's how he was discovered, but once I read that article, that made the most logical sense to me, in my opinion. I mean, he was here long enough to do what he needed to do to get his stuff squared away. So, hey, again, it's a self-inflicted wound. I agree. Hey, facts. Voting has consequences. I see every day somebody on TV talking about I was great. I didn't get fired. I was skipping around the hallway. Then when they got fired, they're like, but I voted for this guy. They were all fine and dandy with the cuts until it impacted them. Let's go and finish up this story so we can get through.
It's not just Marlon. It's several other people who are going through this. So we're not only fighting for Marlon, we're fighting for every veteran who's currently going through any type of deportation proceeding.
The national veterans rights group Common Defense is now demanding Paris's release and the release of other veterans facing deportation. They insist the recent crackdown on illegal immigrants should not involve nonviolent veterans who put their lives on the line for this country.
I will tell you, I don't disagree with that, but I'm not in charge. But I generally don't disagree with that. I mean, you went to a war zone, sacrificed your health, your mental well-being, your life for your country, and you're productive on the back end. I'm technically not opposed to that, but unfortunately, the law is the law, and in this climate, it is what it is. I would be interested to know how he voted, though. A lot of military members tend to lean Republican.
What he's going through right now is something that we believe is a grave injustice to have somebody who served this country, did 2 tours in Iraq as a veteran, to be picked up. The thing that he's going through right now is horrible. It's not something we would wish on anyone, but especially, a veteran with a family.
All right, so I mean, let's take a pause for the cause because we got one more story to update. But yeah, I'm gonna say self-inflicted wound. It's terrible. Unfortunately, I don't think this story is going to end up favorably for him, because when you implement policies like these, even if I say, yo, let's not address people who are nonviolent. If I go somewhere and pick up 10 people and 5 of them are violent and 5 of them are nonviolent, I'm just going to be honest. Nobody has the edits in place to be like, okay, let's separate these guys from these guys. That's just not going to happen, unfortunately. But it is what it is. Now, this story is a recent story. We're going to pivot and talk about the video. We're going to talk about the hazing incident that led into the untimely death of a young man who had a very bright future. There were some updates. There were some arrests made in that, and I just wanted to get everybody up to date on that. And I'll probably link that video. in the pinned comment, or either into the notes of the video below.
Good evening to you, friends. Greg and Liz here with you. So we're going to start with what is a busy news day from the WFBI team. All suspects accused of the hazing of Southern University Omega Psi Phi fraternity pledges have now turned themselves in.
Our chief investigator, Chris Nakamoto, has been on top of this one since day one, exposing the initial lies that were reportedly told to investigators. Chris, what have you learned now?
Well, good evening, Liz and Greg. Details in newly released arrest documents show who was accused of hitting Caleb Wilson and goes into specific details about those who were there the night during that hazing ritual.
Now, remember when I did the video and we talked about this, remember there's accessory before the fact, accessory during the fact, accessory after the fact. In most instances, if you're accessory during the fact, you can be charged the same as the principal. So you can get the same charges, even if another person was punching was punching recruit number 2. This guy punched recruit number 1. Recruit number 1 passes away, even though this individual didn't punch recruit number 1, because he was there. They were acting in concert. An accessory during the fact, he could potentially be charged the same as the individual who essentially dealt the fatal blow.
It's what helped investigators get to the truth. Tonight, Caleb is no longer here, and the 3 young lives charged with hazing pledges are facing serious felony charges. 2 of them ended up in handcuffs today, and only the WAFBI team was there as police hauled them away. Isaiah Smith didn't utter a word on his way to a waiting vehicle on his way to jail. This video filmed Tuesday morning after Smith turned himself into the Violent Crimes Unit in Baton Rouge. Smith is facing felony hazing charges, accused of punching at least one of the pledges. Investigators noted Smith was known as the Dean of Pledges, and it was his car that was used to transport Caleb Wilson's unresponsive body to the hospital.
All right. That's a big negative. I think this is the 3rd individual. So the original individual was arrested. He made his $100,000 bond. The second individual was supposed to turn himself in. He didn't. Authorities came to arrest him. And I believe this is the 3rd individual who actually turned himself in. Being the owner of the vehicle, it establishes accomplice, acting in concert, whatever it is that you want to call it. And we know from the facts that they gave a bullshit excuse about passing out at a basketball game. They dropped him off, didn't stick around. They changed his clothes from what he had on at the time the incident occurred to what he arrived at the location with. And I'm going to be honest, I think that was a really big deal. Changing his clothes. The time it takes, I don't know if y'all ever dealt with dead weight and like carrying a person. That shit is hard for 2 people to change a person's clothes if you aren't getting any physical assistance from them. I think that time that they took to change his clothes was probably instrumental into how this situation turned out, because apparently it was a 10 to 15 minute trip to the hospital. They probably could have saved some time and maybe been in a position to where that young man didn't have to lose his life, even though all the shit that was going on was absolutely ridiculous and foolish.
Where Wilson was pronounced dead. A court commissioner set his bond at $25,000 for criminal hazing, a felony. We then spoke to his attorney.
Up until this afternoon, we didn't know what the allegations were. We didn't know what, who's accused of doing what. And, in clear print, you can read the affidavit. I read the affidavit for the arrest warrant. In clear print, it's clear that he never made contact with Caleb. Now, that being said, this was a freak occurrence.
The hazing ritual came to light 2 weeks.
Don't care if it's a freak occurrence. They are doing an autopsy that they said it may take months, which is crazy work. But they are looking during the autopsy to see if this young man had any physical ailments or conditions that would have made him more susceptible to this type of outcome. That being said, it's fucking irrelevant. It's irrelevant. We talked about it from a legal standpoint. It kind of applies in civil context, but it would apply in this context as well. They call it the eggshell skull theory. If I'm playing around with you and I slap you in the back of the head and you got an eggshell skull and it just cracks and you bleed out. I can't look for leniency because you were one of the rare persons in the world who had a skull that was 35% thinner than the average person. I made the contact. I initiated it. I accept you how you are. You got an eggshell skull. I didn't know it. I don't get a benefit of the doubt. Well, because his head was so thin, because his skull was thinner than an average human, we're going to be a little bit more lenient on you because that wouldn't happen in any other circumstances. That's not going to help shit.
Weeks ago, fraternity members initially reported that Wilson, a student at Southern University, collapsed at this park in Baton Rouge. That was a lie we first exposed. Instead, Wilson was actually at this warehouse, which was being leased by the father of Isaiah Smith.
Isaiah is terribly remorseful about this. This is nothing that anybody wanted. And I think we're still in a state of shock about what's going on. He's a student at Southern. He's a member of a fraternity. He loves the fraternity. He loves the pledges. He loved Caleb. So to be sure, remorse is an understatement.
Smith is among two others also implicated in
the gentleman on the right is the person who actually punched the decedent in this case.
Hazing. Kyle Thurman was captured by U.S. Marshals at this home in Port Allen Monday night. This is video of him as he was escorted from
him. I wouldn't give him a bond. The fact that he didn't turn himself in and they actually had to go out and get him, no bond, or I'm going to set a bond high enough that you can't make unless your mother and your grandmother put up your house. The whole purpose of bond is so you come to court and you didn't even turn yourself in like you were supposed to. So that would be my position if I were the judge.
West Baton Rouge jail back to the jurisdiction where the hazing occurred Tuesday morning. Warrants indicate the Southern pledges were broken up into two groups. Thurman allegedly punching the first group with boxing gloves. And this man, Caleb McCray, allegedly punched the second group. Police say Caleb Wilson was in that second group. McCray is facing the most serious of the charges, manslaughter, which could carry up to 40 years in prison if convicted, along with a felony hazing charge. Arrest warrants say McCray is accused of punching Wilson 4 times.
Y'all think that just this individual right here who punched the decedent should go to custody? Do y'all think that all of them should get some time in custody? Or do you think it should just be him? Let me know what y'all think. Just the person who hit the decedent should get time, or should all of the persons who were acting in concert get some time? Not saying they get maxed out, but yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think before I give my opinion.
At which point Wilson collapsed, his lawyer asking the public not to rush to judgment.
People have a lot of opinions on this case, but there's still a lot of information and variables that are unknown at this time. And so when I ask people to hold off judgment, I'm just simply asking to just trust this criminal justice process, that as the case develops, there's more information we'll learn. And I know it's early to ask for any, empathy or sympathy toward my client, but his life has been altered.
Philip Robinson says Caleb McCray is grieving tonight.
And
I don't know. He probably is, but is he grieving though? Y'all dropped him off at the hospital, then just left. And y'all said he was hooping. All of those acts aren't consistent with someone who's grieving. You might be grieving. You might be grieving because the guy passed away. You might be grieving because your life is about to be changed more than you could have ever fathomed just a week ago. I don't know.
He experienced a traumatic event himself. This is a tough situation all the way around. I am confident in my client's innocence. I do feel that my client will have an opportunity.
You see that look? That look right there. That looking down and to the right. That look right there is when I'm just saying what I'm supposed to say. But yeah, that was not a look of you being confident in your client's innocence. All you had to leave it at was, hey, we aren't going to argue this case in the court of public opinion. My client does have remorse and feels terrible for the law. You say all of that stuff, I would leave the innocence talk out of it. And I think he realized that. That's why he looked like that as he was saying it.
I am confident in my client's innocence. I do feel that my client will have an opportunity to defend himself and give his point of view.
The heartache of Caleb Wilson's death has two communities from Baton Rouge to New Orleans facing enormous grief, including at the Pilgrim Baptist Church in Kenner.
Caleb grew up in this church from a baby. He was baptized here, so he's been a member all of his life.
Oh man, that's so sad. I don't even want to watch this story no more. Let me go and hit the comments up real quick. What's going on, Lisa? I appreciate you tuning in. Hey, Harley, do me a favor too. The story about the folks in Jackson, shoot me an email about that. Just the names. I know one was the attorney general, and I think the other one was the mayor. But if you could shoot me an email, officialdebtfreedad@gmail.com, because I actually want to see if I can get that queued up so we could talk about it Friday. All right, what about someone holding the door so no one comes in where the hazing occurs? They be charged as a principal too in Louisiana. They got they got they got the old school right. What was it called? The book of, I can't remember it, but it's an old school, the Hammurabi. They got and then you go down like in Louisiana, they got like the Hammurabi Code, the very first criminal justice code ever written known to man. But yeah, anybody who participated could potentially be charged as an accessory during the fact. Now, if it's accessory before the fact, you're charged less than the principal. During the fact, could be charged the same as the principal. After the fact, normally is charged less as well. And the example they always give in law school, like you robbing a bank. Like if you like if I come to your house after I robbed the bank and I'm like, yo, hold this money. Yeah, you probably gonna do some time too, but you aren't gonna do as much time as me who held the gun to the bank teller's head. So that is a good point. I never understood the extreme hazing process for acceptance to join a fraternity group. I don't know. I mean, I get it. Everybody want to, feel a part of community and join something. Some people are legacy, but nah. As a grown ass man, especially when I was in my 20s, like I'm not like okay, if you wanted to say like, oh, call you at 3:00 a.m. and go get me a Whopper, I'm like, bro, I gotta get up at 3 a.m. Like stuff like that, but like nah. A grown ass man punching me in my chest is gonna be problems and repercussions. The three of them look a lot older. Yeah, I know the individual who actually punched the decedent 4 times was an actual graduate, but I do believe that they were older, either recent. I do believe they probably were recent graduates. I know the first individual who was all the way on the right, the dark-skinned brother, the one who directly hit the decedent had already graduated. All 3 should get time. I feel exactly the same way. I think somebody died who didn't need to die. If you were there participating in that bull crap, you should all. I agree. All 3. That's my take. And I don't know what defense. This would have to result in some type of plea agreement. Like you could go to trial, but you can't deny it. There were 8 other pledges. There were 8 total pledges there, 7 other witnesses, and they got evidence already that you made attempts to cover up what actually happened. None of that is a good. I agree. They all 3 need to be held accountable big time. I agree completely. Yeah. Just shoot it to me in an email because I had to go back through the chat to try to find it, and it was just too much. It's extreme hazing. Yeah, like blindfold everybody, have them stand on the box and take their shoes off, and you put a bunch of Doritos on the floor and you tell them it's glass, and like they got to take a leap of faith and jump on this glass, something like that. Ha, funny. I get it, but yeah, punching somebody, all that shit is kind of corny. Now, before we get to our next story, this story is okay. I'm gonna tell you, I try not to do stories that are too old, but I have never heard of this story. Somebody sent me the link. I didn't even watch the full news article. I read it and I was like, this shit is absolutely ridiculous. And I was like, this is so ridiculous. Even though it's a year old, I have to do a story on it. And it's just ridiculous. It's the most ridiculous scam that I've ever heard in my entire life. Not even my time as an attorney. It's the most ridiculous scam. I don't think I heard of a scam more stupid than this. I actually didn't think it was true until I was like, I got to find a video. And I found a video and I was like, wow, this is actually true. So I'm not even going to explain what it is, but this is probably the dumbest scam I ever heard. I'm probably going to clip this video and make a shorter video clip of this because it's so freaking ridiculous. So let's go ahead, jump in. Y'all should get a laugh. This is stupid.
A very bizarre insurance scam foiled in San Bernardino County.
Yeah, they claimed a bear trashed their Rolls Royce, but the insurance company says it was a bear imposter, and they found the furry suit to prove it. Shelby Nelson in Lake Arrowhead. With the-
I was like, why is it a? Come on, did y'all? This is this is the most ridiculous scam ever. You try to do insurance fraud and say a bear trashed my car, and then they find the bear suit in your house. Like, yeah, I'm giving them whatever the max for fraud that they trying to commit. They getting it. I don't care if they Mary Poppins and they can fly away with their umbrella. They are going in jail for this pure utter foolishness. The fact that the bear costume is just laying there on the ground is hilarious. I didn't even watch this full video. I just read the article. I read like a few rounds of the article, and I was like, "This is foolish." All right, let's start it from the top, and I'm gonna let it play through for the most part. I may take a pause because you know how YouTube is.
Insurance scam foiled in San Bernardino County.
Yeah, they claimed a bear trashed their Rolls Royce, but the insurance company says it was a bear imposter, and they found the furry suit to prove it. Shelby Nelson in Lake Arrowhead with the story. Hi, Shelby.
Hi, Sharon Micah. Yeah, just when you think you saw it all, not quite, especially for us here in news. I think we were all surprised by this story. You know, it's called Operation Bear Claw for obvious reasons. And when a lot of us saw that video, you really had to do a double take to see, was that really a bear?
I didn't even see the video footage. I just saw the still footage.
Well, take a look for yourself and see if you can find any discrepancies.
I didn't see this video. I just saw the still footage. I know this is about to be ridiculous.
It didn't look like a bear to me.
Believable or barely believable. From afar, this surveillance video shows something or someone rummaging through a car. But if you look closer, it might just look like a bear. That's partially correct. It's actually someone wearing a bear costume accused of trying to get a hefty insurance payout. The video is from January of this year on the 700 block of Bishorn Drive.
Man, that's the most. It literally looked like exactly what it is. It looked like some buffoon. Hold on, let me see. I want to get a still shot. Right here, it looked like some buffoon climbing in the back seat of the car to get his bag or something out of it.
The surveillance video shows something or someone rummaging through a car. But if you look closer, it might just look like a bear. That's partially correct. It's actually someone wearing a bear costume accused of trying to get a hefty insurance payout. The video is from January of this year on the 700 block of Bishorn Drive in Lake Arrowhead.
I'm kind of just stunned because I don't believe somebody could do something like that.
There are bear encounters up here for sure. It's not something that's like completely out of the realm of possibility.
Investigators with California's Department of Insurance say that the suspects made a claim with their insurance company, stating that a bear had entered their 2010 Rolls-Royce Ghost and that the animal had caused interior damage. Images.
Look at the bear claws. That's not even like, okay, I'm not a nature expert, but those bear claw marks that are on the door aren't even consistent with what you think you would see. It would probably be maybe like a Freddy Krueger line because the claws are all off and not even. Throw these people in jail for pure stupidity.
Just show perfectly aligned claw marks. Once the insurance company started investigating, detectives found additional claims with two other insurance companies on the same day, same location, only this time with two Mercedes vehicles.
What a bunch of knuckleheads.
I agree with you, Jay. This is hilarious.
To try to do something so silly.
Residents tell us it's not entirely unbelievable after all, it's bear territory. State investigators later contacted the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, where experts found several discrepancies from the video.
The person, as they entered the vehicle, they did not seem to troubleshoot the handle at all. There were no biological traces left behind in the vehicle. The scratches, there were 6 long scratch marks from the tool that was used. And bears do not have 6 toes. They have
This is the most ridiculous story I ever. He got 6 claw marks and oh, this is priceless. Look at that tool. This is ridiculous. Ah, boy, this is funny.
And bears do not have 6 toes. They have 5.
The costume turned up during a search warrant, leading to the arrest of 4 suspects from Glendale and Valley Village, 3 of them seen here. They were charged with insurance fraud and conspiracy after insurance companies were defrauded more than $140,000.
People will go to any lengths to make money, you know?
Now, something that wildlife expert also added is that if you look closely, there's a lot of slack in that costume, and it's not because the bear is a skinny bear. Now, in the meantime, the San Bernardino County District Attorney says they are reviewing this case to determine if they will file charges. Reporting live from Lake Arrowhead, I'm Shelby Nelson, KTLA 5 News.
Oh my goodness, that was hilarious. I don't know, that was freaking hilarious. I thought that was ridiculous. They had a Rolls Royce. They had a bear costume. Then they left the bear costume in the house, and they found it when they searched the house. Like, at least get rid of the bear costume. And why would you do it? There's a camera right there. I don't know. That was the dumbest scam attempt I ever seen in my life. I thought that was an interesting story, funny, to lighten the mood before we try to figure out what's going on with this track and field event. Is it fair or is it foul? Now, let's go. I like to lay the foundation first, because if you heard this story and you already saw the video, I want y'all to let me know in the comments. Do you think it's an accident or do you think it was intentional? You can just put an A or I in the chat, accident or intention. Now, let's lay the background, okay? You have a high school track meet going on. They're running. It's, I think, a 200 meter. You got to pass the baton. 2 females are running. They're in close lanes. When you're running track, when you bend the curve, you can merge to the inside lane. There's an attempted merger going on. And one of the runners is struck in the back of the head. We don't know if it's intentional or accidental, but I'm going to tell you what I think. One of the runners is struck in the back of the head with the baton. Immediately goes to the side, falls down. She was ruled to have a concussion, and a possible skull fracture. So we're now both of these young ladies did interviews. The young lady who received the blow to the head did an interview. The young lady who delivered the blow, intentional or accidental, I don't know. We don't know yet. Y'all let me know when y'all see the footage. Both were interviewed. I first felt one way. Then as I looked at it, I felt a different way. So let's go ahead, jump into the video. Y'all let me know, is this an accident or if this is intentional?
Whacked during a relay, a high school runner hit another runner in the head with a baton during a track meet.
ABC.
Okay, now you gotta remember the way the media is presenting it is kind of a little bit biased. So just keep that in mind.
Janae Norman has the story.
Junior Kaylin Tucker was running the second leg of the 4x200 relay in the Virginia State High School League Championships when the shocking incident happened.
That's when she hit me with the baton.
Watch again as you see the 2 sprinters running side by side as they round the corner with Kaylin on the outside, Kaylin's mother cheering her on. Just as Kaylin is passing the other runner, the athlete swings her baton, striking Kaylin.
I just felt a bang on my head and then I fell off the track immediately.
Kaylin dropping her baton and reaching for her head.
The whole Coliseum pretty much gasped. I just jumped up out of the bleachers immediately and ran to her on the main floor.
The 16-year-old was later diagnosed with a concussion. The family says neither the athlete who struck Kaylin nor the other team's coaches checked on Kaylin or reached out afterwards.
To see
now, I will tell you, great job for the parents. I think the parents in this case did a great job. Because I'm telling you right now, like, if that was my daughter, I'm about to run down there and I'm probably going to jail for tackling somebody's child. I don't care. I don't even know if it's an accident or intentional at this point in time. All I know is you hit my. I know that sounds ignorant for me to say as a grown ass man, but I'm telling you, when you see your child get hit or bleed or something like that, you just have this innate reaction. It would have maybe cooler heads would have prevailed, but I know I damn sure would have ran down there and I would have been livid because something like this. Think about it. Have we ever heard of something like this happening before? It's so rare. A reaction like that would be warranted. Cooler heads probably would have prevailed, but initially going down there after making sure my child was all right, it probably would have been some problems. So shout out to them. Shout out to them for being adults about it. And not reacted how I probably would initially want to react. Not saying I react that way, but that would be how I want to react. Let's see. Too choppy to see clearly? Okay. Let me see. Hold on. We'll run it back and let's get through this version of the story that the news provide. Then we're going to look at the other version of the story and y'all let me know what y'all think. All right. But you say it looks intentional. All right. Let's go and get through this video. Then we're going to take a look at it in slow-mo. Then we're going to watch one more video.
That they kept running and she not stop and check on my daughter. That was the part where I was like, it couldn't have been an accident.
The other runner who attends IC Norcom High School has not been named. Kaylin's parents say Norcom's athletic director and the girl's father apologized in a phone call, but they're still waiting for the opposing athlete and her coaches to reach out.
We definitely want the coaches and a personal apology from the actual athlete as well, because it's only right.
The Virginia High School League saying in a statement, "We thoroughly review every instance like this," adding, "The VHSL membership has always made it a priority to provide student athletes with a safe environment for competition."
And that was ABC's Janae Norman. Kaylin's parents say they are waiting to see what disciplinary action will be taken against the other athlete before they decide on their next steps.
Tonight, a Portsmouth family says they're telling their...
Let's go back real quick. Let's go back.
Whacked during
because I want to get to the video and see if we can see it in slow motion. I'm gonna change it.
Just as Kaylin is passing the other runner,
I'm gonna change the camera angle and make it a little bit bigger. Let's turn the volume down on this video because when it goes in slow motion, we don't want to hear all the playback speed. We're going to take the playback speed down. And this, we're going to put it full screen. Let's see. Hey, that's a fair point. That is a fair point, Simone. I don't disagree with you. Let's do it this way. Take my mug off of here. And let's just let this play so we can just see it in slow motion because I want everybody to see it before then we're going to talk a little bit. Then we're going to watch another video and I want to know where you fall. All right, well, one more time. All right, so poor sportsmanship. Okay, so we got some context. We got the video. We got the young lady talking about her we got the young lady talking about how she viewed the events from her perspective. We got the fact that the young lady appears to not have apologized. The parents are waiting for apologies from the school and the venue and all of this stuff. So remember, all right, okay, so everybody falling on definitely intentional. Come on now, co-counsel. I need y'all to let's just get all the facts first. But to be fair, how it looks bad. I see like an arm wielding up, how you normally your body would contort if you're striking somebody with something. She was about to get her boot smoked. Clearly, that girl was eating her up. So she was about to get her boot smoked. Now, I will tell you, let me pause it. I'm going to back up real quick because there are some things that are wrong with this image here. Because my son used to run track. But, all right here where they're running in the lane, typically when you bend the curb, everybody is in their lane. But as you come into the straightaway, you can all merge into that inside lane because everybody want to get the inside position. Generally, and I'm not saying this is an excuse, but generally from a track standpoint, a few things are going on here. Let me see if I could. Each of these persons are hugging the line too closely. If we can see where the young lady who got struck is, she's hugging the line too closely. And the other young lady is hugging the line too closely. Normally, you want to allow yourself to have a little bit more space. The young lady who got struck also, generally, before you pass over and merge, when you want to get on that inside track, you have to have one leg length in front of the person you're about to cross. She doesn't have the one leg length, so I'm assuming that because they're both hugging that line, there's probably some bumping going back and forth, and they both should ease up off that line. And that young lady who actually got struck, not saying this is an excuse, you have to generally have one leg length in front of the person before you can pass them to avoid collisions and stuff like that. So that's just, hey, I'm not an expert, but that's just, okay, we got people saying it was criminal. Oh man, damn, 007. Let's see. She cocked the arm. Hey, it was given this. I don't disagree with you. Tanya Harding move right there. That's what everybody has analogized it to. Yeah, they should. Yeah. Oh my goodness. All right, that's one perspective. Now let's take a look at another video. We're going to hear the perspective of the other young lady, and we're going to see some alternate video footage. Remember, I tell people all the time, hey, there's always multiple sides. There's your version, my version, then there's the actual truth. Let's take a look. Give me 1 second. Let's crank this back up. Let's get that back to normal. All right.
Tonight, a Portsmouth family says they're telling their side of the story in reference to a shocking incident at a Virginia high school league indoor track meet that left one athlete allegedly injured after she claimed she was struck by a baton held by IC Norcom High School senior Alayla Everett. Everett spoke exclusively to 10 on Your Side's Markeisha Jackson, who brings us much more.
All right, this is an interview of the young lady who delivered the accidental or intentional blow.
The young athlete in question says there's more to that video than meets the eye.
Everybody has feelings. So you're physically hurt, but you're not.
I will tell you, initially, this is just optics. I'm just telling you optics, how I perceive this video. Initially, how I perceive this video, and I'm not saying, hey, you could always, but it was, this is just me. Again, we haven't made a determination whether it was accidental or intentional. I'm gonna give y'all that after we got all the facts, but it's giving crocodile tears to me right now. I hear the voice. I don't see no waterworks, even though waterworks aren't indicative of actual emotion, empathy, those type of feelings. But I'm just telling you, that's how it comes off. initially as I see it. Let's see. Due to the timing of the whack, I say she was angry. Fair. All right, let's go. Let's watch. Let's get through this. Then we're gonna talk.
Oh, you're physically hurt, but you're not thinking of my mental, right?
Alayla Everett is a decorated athlete and senior at IC Norcom High School. She would have never thought her trip to the Class 3 track and field state finals last Tuesday would take a drastic turn.
They're going off of one angle.
Alayla visibly emotional because of this video.
All right. Remember what she said. They're going off of one angle. Perception is reality, but people perceive different things.
From the meet. This was a 4x200 meter relay race, and she and a Brookville High School athlete were rounding a curve on the track when they nearly collided with each other.
Okay, after a couple times hitting her,
Now, I want y'all to listen to how she explains this, and then we're going to take a look at this image right here. I'm going to see if I can find a better one, but I want y'all to listen to how she explains this. Then we're going to take a look at this image, and then y'all tell me, again, accident or intentional.
Were rounding a curve on the track when they nearly collided with each other.
okay, after a couple times hitting her, my baton got stuck behind her back like this, and it rolled up her back. I lost my balance, and when I pumped my arms again, she got hit.
It appears intentional, but Alayla says it was accidental.
But I know my intentions, and I would never hit somebody on purpose. I didn't have to see a first video, second video, 10 video. I know 100% that she won't do this to nobody.
Her parents outraged at the backlash. The IC Norcom relay team was disqualified. A rule.
All right, so she gave her variation of the facts. I want to find a different video, but we got to look at that angle again.
Ruling that a local USA track and field official finds questionable. He says a play-by-play look shows that the Brookville athlete was running closely to Alayla.
If a person comes up on the outside, they got to be a full stride ahead of me before they can cut in front of me.
The other family spoke with the news station in Roanoke asking for an apology from Alayla, something she wants to give, but she says the other athlete hasn't been receptive, blocking her on social media, and instead the Everett family was served with court papers.
And now we have to go to a city 3 hours away.
You knew court was coming. Hey, you hurt somebody, if they don't punch you in the face, they're going to punch you in the pockets by the justice system.
That everybody hates our guts already.
They're assuming my character, calling me ghetto, racist slurs, death threats, all of this just because of a 9-second video.
VHSL says they are still reviewing the situation, and Portsmouth Public Schools says they will support whatever ruling comes from the league.
Okay, after hearing that story and seeing that video, do you all think that it was still intentional or still an accident? Because y'all let me know in the comments. I want to pull up that angle, but I want to find
Whacked during a relay, a high school run.
find a better camera. That was a little blurry, so give me 1 second. Y'all let me know. Y'all still think I don't know. Y'all still think it was accident or intentional? Let's see. I hope somebody already chopped this up to do me a favor. Let's see. I'm trying to find a good angle. Let's see. I think I got one. Just bear with me. I got a little struggle stream going on here. Hold on. I think this is a good one right here. Let me see.
Well, Alea's father says.
Oh, that's not a good one. Give me 1 second. I know where I gotta find it at. I gotta go. Damn, I should have had this already queued up. Give me 1 second. I gotta go back in history.
I know this looks one.
Let's see. Give me 1 second. I want to find a good angle. Just bear with me a little bit. We're gonna have to work. We're gonna have to work with what we got. Let's go ahead and go back to here. Watch later. This story. Damn, y'all all say intentional still. Y'all some savages. Y'all some, y'all some straight savages,
She
man.
got hit.
Let's. I want to pause the video so we can see what is going on, but I want to find the right angle. Where was it? All right, right here. Right here. Let's make that bigger. Let's slow that down. Playback speed. We're gonna take it to 0.25. We're gonna turn the volume down so we don't gotta hear all the yeah, I don't know. All right. So her story was we heard the track coach say they running too close on the line. Clearly, we could see that. So, and even the young lady in her the second young lady said they were bumping up against each other. That's hilarious. Investigation outcome: pool noodles will replace batons. Hey, that's we change all the rules for one incident just like this. But she said they were running too close. They were bumping up against each other. She said this is the story from the young lady who delivered the accidental and or intentional blow. She said because they were running too close, her baton got stuck. Do I got something in here? I can use this envelope. She said her baton got stuck. Your baton, you normally holding it like this. But she said because they were running too close, her baton got stuck this way on her back. And as she was trying to pull it up, she lost her balance. When you run, your arms naturally swing forward. She says she loses her balance. And when she try to catch her balance, that's how the blow comes in. So I want you all to look at this angle. Let's go ahead. We're going to do it this way. Take my face out of it and tell me if this angle changes your mind. Tell me if this angle changes your mind. Let's see. All right, it's about to come up. All right, so we clearly see it. It's a little blurry. I know y'all gotta work with me. They close. They hitting arms already. All right, stop. If you can see this blurry object right here, this circle where the mouse is going around, this is consistent with what she said. My baton got stuck on her back, not in a vertical direction, but in a horizontal direction. So I'm just saying, we listening to her version of the story as she described it. That's consistent with what she said happened. We didn't see this from the first angle. But now that she explains it and we look at it differently, we see that that's a true bill. Her baton gets stuck on the young lady back in a horizontal direction. All right, I'm going to rewind it back just a little bit so we can see what happens next. So the baton is stuck on her back in a horizontal direction. Now it goes up. Now let's see. She says she loses her footing. Let's see if any time does she lose her footing. All right. Now this is a little blurry, but this is the best footage that we got. I'm a baton stuck on her back. She's running right here. If you can see this, I want y'all to take close attention. Look at her body position, how her torso turns, but look at her feet. When you run, you have a consistent stride that you do. Look at her torso position and look at her feet position, how her feet position break from her normal stride. To me, I'm just watching. This is giving consistent with, again, the baton got stuck on her back, which she said, and now we can see. Then she says she loses her balance, which she says, and according to this video, if I'm a juror and I'm sitting in the jury box, it does appear that she loses her balance. Baton stuck on her back. Right there. Look at her footing. I don't know. Was that? I know that's a blurry picture, and I know from this angle it looks absolutely terrible. But let me see if I can see. Let's go back real quick. Let's go back to the first video real quick. I want to go back. I want to go back to the first video real quick. That video does that change y'all mind? Do y'all still think I stand corrected? I'm just saying, now that I see that and we hear her story, now let's look at we're gonna look at the first video again, real quick. Let's look at the first video. Because all this we didn't see. Let's see. We're gonna go here. Now that we've seen another angle, let's watch this first video again. Now that we've seen another angle. Running. Right? Okay, we can see, if you can see that, you can actually see now that we've seen the second video, we can see where the baton gets stuck on her back. Right there. It slides up. She almost falls, and she... Do y'all still think that's intentional? Hey, see? Damn. Y'all cold-blooded. Intentional still. I stand corrected. Could be what she said. Man, y'all, hey, I get it. But this is the nature of what goes on. Let's see. She looked at her and then hit her. Looks intentional at that angle. The first angle looks intentional. The second angle, when she explained what happens, it provides a little bit more granularity, a little bit more context to the story. There's no way, I'm not a, I'm not a science major, but if you're running at full speed in a 200 meter, when you lose your balance and you're trying to get that baton up, I can see your arm is naturally going to come forward because it would come forward in that running motion anyway. So again, but the fact that some of you all are split, okay, because I'm saying, I see, hey, Alexandria, I don't want you on my jury. We love you, but I don't know. Hey, can we excuse juror number 4 with no cause, Your Honor? We just not rocking with them. But I agree. I agree that it looks, but let's see, the other girl slightly ahead of her and she hits her. Let's see, her judgment account will go down. So I agree with both of those comments, but I don't think any criminal thing has been filed. They said they have to go to court, but I didn't hear anything in the story where they said there was a district attorney involved or something to that effect. Because if I'm a district attorney and I see both of those videos, I'm like, no. If there's absolutely no way you can convince 12 people that without having one of them saying, nah, that was just an accident. Her story makes sense when we look at the other video. So no prosecutor is going to touch this. If I saw this on my desk, I'm like, no, we're going to leave it alone. So if they are going to court, it's going to be for some type of civil damages. So now you're talking about, you got 12 jurors in a box. Do you think 7 of them will agree that this was, because I don't think they're saying that it's a few causes of action. They're going to go with an intentional tort, which is battery, assault. You can have a civil battery. Or the other argument is that they're going to say, their other argument would be negligence, but I just don't think that, and we talked about negligence before. A person had a duty, they breached that duty, someone suffered damages, and the breach of the duty was the cause of the damages. I just don't even think that's going to be enough in light of these facts. That video footage, I think a negligence civil case would be trash. I think the only cause of action they're going to have is we're going to go with a civil intentional tort. That means battery, assault, unlawful contact of another in a harmful or offensive manner, and that it was intentional. I don't think that they can prove in a civil capacity. I don't think they can convince 7 out of 12 jurors that that was intentional. I'm erring on the fact that I think it was an accident consistent with girl number 2's story. Girl number 1, all she knows is she was running and she got hit in the damn head. That's just my take on it. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I just don't think that there's enough criminally, nobody's going to touch this because the video footage alone is a reasonable doubt. From a civil standpoint, the cause of action would be an intentional tort, saying she intentionally committed a civil battery. And I don't think 7 out of 12 jurors would say that, yes, that was intentional. I would be shocked. That's my thoughts. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Is she worried about that track scholarship? That could be a good point, too. They're kids. I don't think it should be dealt with on that level. And I did hear, to be fair, the damages, the injuries. I've heard 2 things. I've heard concussion. I've heard possible fractured skull. I'm thinking it's just a concussion because I haven't seen anything substantiated that she actually had a fractured skull. Now, the other legal question that I see people ask is, well, can they sue the school? Can they sue the facility that was hosting the event? The long story short answer is going to be no. It would be the equivalent of, it's a law school question. I remember it was a law school question. I'm sitting in torts. That's when you talk about your negligent and your intentional torts like battery or false imprisonment that you can sue somebody for civilly that are also crimes. And it was a negligence fact pattern they gave us. And it was something like Rico worked in a restaurant and he forgot to clean the grease trap. So the grease trap started to leak. No, he didn't forget to clean it. He didn't clean it yet. He was still working. He was cleaning everything else. He didn't clean the grease trap. The grease trap started to leak. So you got this leaky grease trap that Rico's going to empty. He always empties it, but he does other stuff before he cleans it out for the night. And in this fact pattern, a mouse was somewhere in a furnace or under a furnace in a pilot light and got caught on fire, and it darted out and it hit the grease and the whole place go up in flames. And they was like, well, is there a negligence cause of action? And everybody's like, can you blame the mouse? Like, some things are freak of natures, are accidents, some things aren't intentional, but something cannot be intentional and also not be negligent. And I think that's what this is. I don't think it was intentional. Clearly, definitely not intentional. But I also don't think it rises to a level of negligence. I don't think she had any duty. Her duty was to run the race. She was running the race. They both were hugging the line a little bit too close. I think this is just one of those random one-off things where if the young lady doesn't have a fractured skull, they apologize, everybody dap each other up, and to prove who's the fastest, they should both have a one-on-one race for charity or some shit like that. That should be the outcome of it. But, you know, I don't know. Some people like, nah, it's intentional. I don't think it's anything. I think it's just a freak accident. Let's see. Discovery of hostile rivalry could be informative. And that could be the case. The other thing that I would look at, too, is the young lady who dealt the blow, has she lost before? Is she undefeated? If she's lost before, has she done anything in her past that would be consistent with egregious, ridiculous, over-the-top, unsportsmanlike conduct that could potentially be criminal? If she got her boots smoked before and never cracked somebody else in the head, I'm more inclined to believe her version of the story in line with the evidence that we have. That's just my takeaway. Facts that they both light-skinned complication jurisdiction. I know they look like they could be related. I was like, is it the same girl? I was confused as well. But I thought that it was an interesting story. I don't think it's anything. It's not a crime. It's not negligence. It's not an intentional tort. It's just a freak accident. Hopefully everybody can figure things out and work it out. I'm going to try to keep a tab on this story. I may do a short. I never post shorts. I may do a short just to see what is going on with the actual court case. But I'm assuming the court case is either a civil battery complaint or a civil negligence complaint, both of which will fail in my opinion. Yo, but that's it for this video. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Hey, I'm grateful that y'all allow me the opportunity to talk to y'all about these things and y'all tuning in with me to see my take. And I'm always trying to get feedback. If y'all got stories, hit me up, officialdebtfreedad@gmail.com. I'll make sure to cover them. And I'll see y'all on Friday's live stream. Y'all take care. Be blessed. Have a good night. Peace.